Okay, welcome, welcome. It is May 26, 2021 with the Starch Lady and Friends. So excited to be here today. As I told Samantha and Caroline that are on the call already, this is totally a fake smile. I am in so much pain, I can't even describe it. So we're going to try and get through today's call. I had my knee surgery on Friday, and it is a complex, multi-directional torn meniscus. And I thought, I have had 6 C-sections. I've had a hysterectomy. I've had a bladder lift. Piece of cake. I can handle surgery. This is the worst surgery pain I've ever experienced. At least when I had abdominal surgery with the hysterectomies and the babies and all that, I was able to put a pillow on my tummy and support myself and relieve myself and at least walk around. I can't walk around, people. I am sitting in a wheelchair. Can you see my handlebars here on my wheelchair? I've got braces on my wrist because it's hard to move the wheelchair on carpet. Wheelchairs and carpet, not a good match. It has just been incredible. Just the slightest rotation of my foot, left or right, sends just shooting pain. Anything that makes my knee bend at all, shooting pain. So I have just been trying to behave. My husband, thank goodness, he took Friday off, was there with me at the hospital. They brought me home before I was even really awake. I mean, they literally, as soon as my eyes opened in recovery, they started dressing me and sending me out the door. And I didn't know if I was dead or alive. It was weird. And then we get home and he's just been taking care of me like a trooper. You know, there's something different about spouses, you know, taking care of you and when you're sick versus, you know, loving on you when you're not sick. And it's a different feeling. I'm used to being the caregiver, not the caregivee. So anyway, all right, well, let's get started. Let's see how our food's going this week. I think he's in there whipping up some oatmeal with a pile of frozen papaya. Papaya is your next best friend for bowel movement elimination. Apple a day is great, but papaya will get the job done. So he's going to put that in there for me. But let's start with Caroline. What'd you and your daughter have for breakfast today?
Myself, I ran out of my usual steel cut oats, so I just had just regular oats that I cooked on the stove top with some cooked apple in it, and then ate blueberries on top. And my daughter got up a little late, so she just had her smoothie and apples just a little while ago.
Nice. What was in the smoothie?
Frozen banana, mango, strawberry, and a little bit of blueberry too.
Wow. Okay. Any greens in there at all?
When we have it, she likes spinach in it, so but we don't have any right now. So that's it.
Nice. Your garden looks adorable. I like how you did that, where you didn't have to weed whack around the garden anymore. You put some what'd you call that? Some like tarp or something down, and then you put some rocks and your garden on top. That's going to make it real nice. And is she helping you plant the seeds and the plants and stuff?
Not really, but that's okay.
Yeah, get her watering it. They become very possessive of those sweet little plants growing up. I had a client yesterday, Max's mom, in fact, my assistant's mother. She stopped by the house yesterday and left me a big, 2 beautiful goblets. And in the goblets is a huge bunch of basil and peppermint. So I'm gonna put some basil and peppermint in my smoothie a little bit later today, and in my drink. Just putting it in the water and infusing basil and peppermint is really delicious, and there's all kinds of benefits. I could do a whole class on how much benefit there is from doing that. So pretty exciting. So all right, that's great. You guys have lunch yet today? What time zone are you in?
We're an hour behind you, I think. We're probably like I packed us some summer rolls with like rice noodles and veggies in it. We'll probably eat that a little bit later.
Nice. That's awesome. We have been doing some fun things with rice around here. My older son is a professional chef. He has been since he was 16 years old. He's been working in the bakery industry or the every cuisine imaginable industry. And he's changing careers. He, in fact, just left this morning. He was staying with us last couple of weeks. He just left this morning for a new job up in Massachusetts. And so totally different career field. So we're really excited for that. But while he was here, I took advantage of it, and he made some really creative burritos. And whether it was rice with leftover beans or, whatever, he had all kinds of things that we had, that peppers and onions, all kinds of things that he'd, saute in vegetable broth or something for me. And then he'd stick it in these tortillas we found that are a gluten-free tortilla. Honey, can you grab me that tortilla package? I want to show it to him. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hand me the tortilla package with the green spinach? I wanted to show you these tortillas we got, because it's really hard to find a gluten-free tortilla, and it's even harder to find a gluten-free tortilla that meets our calculations on the label. And so we found these, and so he was putting everything you can imagine in there and rolling them up, and then we stick them on the griddle. It's a two-sided griddle that has either waffle iron plates or flat plates or griddle plates. You can swap them in and out, flip them over, and like a panini press kind of thing. There's that option on there. And he was griddling those down. It was like, for the first time in so many years, so I've been diagnosed celiac since 2003. So I avoid anything like the plague that has wheat, rye, or barley in it. And lucky for me, because of these tortillas, he made me basically Hot Pockets, and they were all in compliance. It was really neat, and sticking some kale and all kinds of stuff in there, and it was just really, really, really tasty. I think he's coming around the corner here any second. I didn't want the table to bounce too much, because last time I had it on my lap, it was bouncing. So I'm just sitting here in the wheelchair and with the camera on the table. So hopefully I don't do too much bouncing. Do you see it, honey? They're in the bread cupboard probably. Okay, he can't find it. It's really weird. He can't ever find anything. Okay, we'll look at that if he finds it later. All right, so then, okay, so moving ahead, let's look at Samantha. What are you whipping up in the kitchen there?
Well, let's see, potatoes.
The potato.
Some of the cauliflower mozzarella sauce on top is what I'm gonna have.
You like that?
It's yeah.
It's the texture, I think, but Justin said to tweak it a little bit. He thinks it needs a little bit of pickle juice or lemon juice or something to give it a little bit of that cheesy bite.
I think what happened was, because I don't mind the fact that it tastes like cauliflower. That doesn't bother me. It bothered my husband, but what I think what happened is I put the garlic.
Garlic powder?
It's not powder. I have garlic. Hold on, let me see what it is.
Granules, maybe. Granules.
Yeah, granulated garlic.
There you go.
Instead of the powder, so I'm thinking maybe because it's granulated garlic instead of powder, it's stronger.
Yeah, it's stronger. Yeah, you would need less of that. Kind of like the big chunky salt versus the powdered fine, salt kind of thing.
So yeah, it's got that little.
There was like 3 or 4 packages. He did, okay. Evidently, my boys ate all of the tortillas that I was trying to show you, but it did fit in the category. The fat was good. I want to say the salt was either spot on or just a little bit high, and then there was no added sugar, so it was perfect. Okay, so back to the cauliflower cheesy stuff.
And I used the recipe that you had on yours, but I watched the video that you had attached, and your recipe that was in print does not have any almond milk.
No.
I
Hers did put some almond milk in it, didn't it?
Yeah, and so I put almond milk because I was like, I am not going to turn my blender on with no liquid. That's just,
Oh, yeah, no, maybe I forgot to put that in there. You could put almond milk or vegetable broth or whatever you're going to use. It has to have some liquid, yes.
yeah. So I put the almond milk in it, and I mean, it's okay. I like the texture of it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm actually eating cheese, even though it's tasting like cauliflower.
So I haven't really tasted the cauliflower part, I guess because I haven't been eating it plain. Let me go up there and find your video because it looked really good. I'm going to share a screen here for a second. I guess I don't taste the cauliflower because I've always been using it like in the lasagna or something. So let me look here for a sec. Let's see. All right, so if we go down here and we find it. I mean, I've been on a liquid diet yesterday, just trying to give myself a little break. Let's see, you guys are doing such a great job posting these pictures. They've been wonderful. You guys are doing great with your recipes and your plates look amazing. But here's Samantha's stringy cheese sauce. Look how thick and gooey that is. I know, Caroline, you've made it too. Have you added any lemon or anything to it to give it a little bit more of a bite? Is Caroline still muted? Maybe she can pop on later and tell me if she did something different to make it more cheesy, but look how gooey and
Oh, sorry.
that is.
I don't know, like when I don't know, I just started as much as possible and then I kind of just gave up on it, I think.
So the flavor by itself, I think, can be a little bit cauliflowery, but I think if we put just a little lemon or something in there, it might give it a little bit more cheesy, but I've used it on pizza. So I had all those other flavors going on. I put it on lasagna, worked great in the lasagna. We've used it on the burritos. We've done quite a few things with it. Okay. So it looks really, really beautiful. It was a great job there. Good demo. Okay. And Diane, how have you been doing? Haven't seen you for a little bit.
Well, I could be doing better. I just eat a lot of food.
You lost your video. Are you there?
Yeah, let me put my video on. There we go.
There you are. Hi, sweetie.
Yeah. See, I weigh the same thing that I weighed last month when I saw you
Yeah.
down in Austin. So I'm weighing the same. I'm not going up, and I'm really not going down. So I eat a lot of bread, a lot of pizza crust,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So I pretty much know, that I need to just go more to vegetables, non-starchy vegetables. Oh, and potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes always work for me.
Yes. Now, when I make my pizza crust out of the potatoes, I lose weight. But if I make it like if I buy the store-bought gluten-free cauliflower crust or anything like that that's been more processed, I don't. And so I think you see Corey is your girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know she's really big on, and well, so is the other one. They're very big on not using the refined processed stuff as much. Like they would probably say these tortillas are like a no-go. He found some in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And because this is made with spinach and herbs, it actually has quite a few ingredients here, but the fat per serving was 2.5 and the calories are 130. So 20% would be 2.6. So it just barely fits in the category, but it's like a once in a while thing. If I were eating this every day, I'm sure that it would not give results. So I can't really tell how much I've lost or not lost since last week because this brace, this hardware they've got me in is so heavy. And so it popped me right up to 220 pounds. So I'm kind of using that 220 again to go back down because I can't take the brace off and stand on the scale. I would die. So we'll see. It'll be a surprise when the brace comes off in 4 to 6 weeks, what I actually weigh. So.
Oh, if you don't mind saying, what happened to
Oh,
you?
I had, remember I was walking with a cane when you saw me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd gotten those sexy boots, losing 40 pounds. I bought myself some sexy boots and I was in a hurry to take them off one day. And so instead of sitting down like a grown woman and taking my boots off like a grown woman, I grabbed my heel on my right foot and I yanked my foot up in an angle that was not intended for knees to twist. And the MRI came back and found out that I had a complex multi-directional torn meniscus. So last Friday they went in to do surgery, and I am in so much pain I can't even begin to describe it. So this is a fake smile right here for you. So, yeah, so that's what happened. But trying to get back to the whole foods, like Samantha and I, we do potatoes a lot. I think Caroline does also there. And I cook them up at the crock pot so that I can just grab them and eat them cold, dipped in mustard. I can throw them on my salad chopped up, or I can reheat them and mash them up, mashed potatoes, or I can mash them into pizza crust or turn them into hash browns or whatever. Air fries. Oh my gosh, cold potatoes, chubby cut, and put in the air fryer is delightful, dipped in some spicy mustard or spicy ketchup or something like that. Barbecue sauce, low sugar barbecue sauce. And I lose weight like crazy when I'm just eating potatoes. Rice even slows me down. Oats slow me down. Potatoes seem to be the best go for me, but not doing the breads. I can go crazy on breads. They've got some wonderful gluten-free breads now, and I can go absolutely crazy with those. And I've become quite obsessed with that mock tuna that we posted a couple weeks ago, where you mash up the garbanzo beans, but then you put in everything that you'd normally put in tuna salad. So I have diced up apple, I have diced up celery, I have, all these different things that I relish, pickle relish. I put all the same stuff in there, and I can stuff that in one of those little ciabatta type soft squishy buns, and I have to limit myself. They're only small, they're only about this big, and so I have to limit myself to just 2 of those because it is so tempting to want to eat more. So
I mean, I've been eating lots of bread and buns, and I like Dave's hamburger buns. So that's what I've been doing for a whole month.
Okay. So
so I'm ready now to switch over to something better.
There you go. Just cook up a pot of potatoes and put them in the fridge. So all right. Well, that's good. So for breakfast, did you have bread for breakfast, or what'd you have?
Yeah, I did. I had an Engine 2 pizza crust, tomato sauce, and broccoli and cauliflower.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome. So you had the crust with the vegetables? You didn't even turn it into a pizza?
Yeah, no, it was a whole crust.
Okay.
With 2 cups of tomato sauce on it, and then the broccoli and cauliflower.
Oh, yeah. See, that's good stuff. We had Domino's again the other day. The day I think I got home from the hospital, we had Domino's, and wasn't probably the best move for me, having just come home from surgery, because nothing was working right, still not working right. But they did a great job with the sauce, veggies, and sauce plunked on top, and it was very helpful, very tasty. So. All right. Well, moving forward, what topics do you guys want to cover today? Any questions about this, that, or the other thing? What can I help you with?
Okay, I'm going to say, because yesterday I ate things that, well, probably weren't correct. But somehow this morning, I'm down a lot compared to, I mean, for what I was thinking, I was going, man,
You're gonna be up today and you were actually down. That's good.
Yeah. Because I mean, I ate a lot of chips, the corn chips
Mm-hmm.
that are fried in oil.
Ah,
And I also ate from Mama Margie's, the guacamole salad. So it's just a ton of guacamole.
oh yeah.
But then I had also had a salad, a zucchini noodle salad from HEB that had, I don't know, it was called zoodles or something, I don't know, but one of those pre-made salads.
So it
And
had
I-
zucchini noodles. That's like perfect. That's nothing.
yeah, but I did put a little bit of the dressing on it because it was like a tzatziki sauce dressing,
Okay.
but I didn't use the whole thing. But anyway, and then a lot of cucumbers and things like that. Anyway, I really want you to research because I'm pretty sure what I'm thinking is that the whatever you eat today is not going to show up until 2 days later.
Pretty much. Yeah. Your body's still in the process of processing. So what you ate or feel like you overate yesterday, depending on how it was combined, it sounded like it was just vegetables and starches. So you weren't having, well, you did have a lot of fat with the guacamole. So that's going to slow things down. Whenever you put carbohydrates like the chips with the fat from the avocado, it's going to slow things down. It can actually slow it down as much as 8 to 24 hours. As low as in 48 is even documented as well. So in that proper food combining, and we can review that chart if you haven't seen it before. I don't think Diane's seen it before. We could do that again, where it goes through and shows you how to properly combine the foods and why. Because if you eat vegetables and starches, there has to be a 4 to 5 hour gap between vegetables and fats. And since we're not really doing fat on this program, but you actually got some by default by having the guacamole, which if I'm going to fudge on fat, it's going to be in the guacamole form. I'm going to just shove me some avocados and not even blink. But that has to have about a 5 to 6 hour gap before you have another carbohydrate. So your body's still trying to process that right now, and it hasn't decided what to do. It hasn't decided whether it can burn it or whether it's going to store it. And that's where the weight difference is going to come, whether it's releasing it in the form of fuel or it's storing it because it had too much and it doesn't know what to do with it. So it's going to just store it for you. So, Dr. McDougall always says, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. So, if it came out looking green, that would be interesting, if I've got a little avocado on my cheeks or something. But yeah, do you guys want me to show you that little food combination chart again? It's been a while since we looked at it.
I can watch it every other day and it'll be new to me.
Okay. Hey, girl, your brain issues are not a problem. I call you and ask you questions that I can't remember to save my life, and you remember everything. So don't be pulling the brain card on me.
No. Oh, and isn't that's just weird that they let you go from the surgery without having a BM before
I
you
know.
left.
I know. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They said it was what they call it, in and out surgery or something, but you'd think that you would check to make sure that your human was fully functioning before you send them on their own. So
Yeah.
let me pull this one up here real quick and see if I can get it to, let's see, let's do it this way. All right, let's move this over here. All right, so this is a presentation I've been doing for quite a while now, and I finally put it in an animation. I've usually been drawing this out for my clients, Oh, this is the really big one. This is not the one. No, that's not the one. Back up. Back up. That's not the one. Close that. Go down here. I thought it was proper combine. Oh, right here. I guess it got named the same thing. I'll have to look at that in a bit. Slideshow. Interesting. Reverse timings. Okay, so it's still the same one. Okay, so let's go down here. I know it's in here because I put it here. Maybe it'll let me. This is the presentation we did a few weeks ago. Just get to it.
Which, in my opinion, is a little bit too long.
It is. It was a full hour, but I do these when I do lectures, and people have me come and do lectures for like businesses and health programs and stuff, and they want me to take an hour. So this works perfect for that kind of a lecture. But for us, I would think I was putting y'all to sleep. All right, let's see here. This is the sped up version here. All right, let's see. It should be coming any second. Bunch of our success peoples in food, yummy yummies. And it should be anywhere now. Hold on, coming slow. Okay, where did it go? Aha, back up, back up. Okay, here we go. So here is the pH scale, 7 being neutral. And when you go to the left, one point is not just 1 point, it's exponential power of 10. So 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to, you know, a million. And then the other way, it's 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million, so forth like that. So then we look at things like coffee and chocolate that start out with a pH scale of like 2.0 when it's in the raw form. But when it's consumed, it goes even further. But even in the raw form, we're looking at it being at the 2.0 range, which means that it's 100,000 times more acidic than base neutral. But after you consume it, it goes to a negative, if I can slide this out of the way you can see it, to a negative 25. That means we'd have to add 25 more zeros to this 100,000. I don't even know how to tell you what that number would be. But once you look at the fact that lemons also start out at 2.0 in the raw form, you can actually cut them in half and sterilize and clean your kitchen with them. But once you consume a lemon, the 2.0 increases to, and it's being blocked there, but it's 9.9 pH. That's crazy, right? So let me move this slightly over this way so I can not have it in the way, if that'll work. The cucumbers, it's going too fast, so let's slow it down. Cucumbers start out at the same rate as Gatorade and soda at 2.7 to 3.0. But when you consume a cucumber that starts out at 3.0, it goes to an amazing increase of alkaline up to 31.5. So it's one of the most alkalizing foods you can put in your other hand next to something you're not supposed to be eating that's more acid. Then what you look at is, this is really important. This is the important part here. If you had 3, you know, jars of food with the same food in each jar, and you were to put acid in the first jar by itself, what would happen to the food? It would completely dissolve. I mean, just completely dissolve. Same thing would happen if you put just alkaline on the same food in a jar by itself, because they're polar opposites of each other. So they do exactly the opposite of the same thing. If you were to put both in there, however, remember one here goes acid to the left, alkaline to the right. You've got, excuse me, it kind of cancels each other out and it neutralizes. So that means that when you put foods in your belly that are alkaline, at the same time you put foods in there that are acid, which is basically your animal foods, your meats, your fats, or your oils, anything that's protein or fat related, it's going to fight against the alkaline. And that means that nothing's going to happen in this jar or this stomach, because they're going to keep canceling each other out. And that just makes for miserable bloat, burp, fart, miserable human being. And so what we want to consider is that if you had just vegetables only in your meal, just a salad, for example, with, mustard on it, I guess, like Samantha eats it. And I did that the other day too and loved it. If you just a vegetable meal, it would take 2 to 3 hours for that to break down and leave your stomach and go through the rest of the digestive channels. If you were to put vegetables and carbs together, where you had some maybe potatoes with those vegetables, or rice, or the pizza crust like Diane was talking about. If you were just having vegetables and carbs, then you would take 3 to 4 hours for that food to break on down through the stomach and move on out to the digestive channels of the rest of the process, go through the liver and kidneys and glean what it needs, and so on and so forth. And if you had vegetables and protein, it would take 4 to 5 hours. But when you combine them together and you have vegetables, carbs, and protein together, even though you've got a lot of vegetables there to offset, it's going to take anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. And I've seen and heard studies of it going even 48 hours. Well, in that 24-hour period, you've added, how many more meals, how many more snacks that are now added to that equation. So it's really important to think about the, let's see, save that. Let me close this down here. It's really important to think about the combination of things that you're putting together in your stomach so that you don't have that miserable bloat and float. But if you can picture your stomach and thinking that you'd really like that to be hungry and empty before you feed it again, make sure that what you're adding into your stomach is going to be something that's not going to wrestle with what's already there. So spacing your meals out, eating when hungry, that's usually a really good indicator. Yesterday, because I was so exhausted and so much pain, I slept a lot and I had a miserable night. And so I slept a good long while. In fact, today, totally should be depressed, as Dr. McDougall says, because I slept for 13 hours, went potty maybe twice in there, and went right back to bed. I was exhausted. But because of that, I've been sleeping so much, I only had 2 jars. You saw them posted on the Facebook group yesterday, where I just made soup in a jar, and it was Dr. McDougall's split pea soup. And I had a little miso in the first one and hot water, and just drank that. The second one was a pea soup with a little bit of mashed potato and hot water to the top. And they were so filling and so satisfying. I really wasn't hungry, but I'm also not burning a lot of calories sitting around in my wheelchair or my recliner or laying in bed either. So hopefully in the next week, I'll start feeling more like a human and can get around a little bit more and get a real shower. But,
I personally think there's something wrong with what happened to you, because when I had mine done, I went back to work on Monday.
On your knee?
Yeah.
Well, they said that they had to do a little more than they anticipated, because it was not a single tear. It was like multi-directional. I kind of blew it up. They said they had to go in and do some stitching, which they were not planning on doing, because if they didn't, they would have had to have removed the entire meniscus and I would have had nothing. And then they said arthritis would have set in like really quick, and that would have been a problem. So they kind of had to rebuild the shreds, I guess is the best that I could describe. But whatever it was, I don't know if it was the anesthesia, I don't know what it is, but I've just not felt right since they woke me up and shoved me out the door. So yeah, that was probably the weirdest part, is them shoving me out the door. I mean, when I've had my other surgeries, they've kept me for 4 and 5 days waiting for me to have a bowel movement before I left. And, with a little help from you, it was day 6 and that's all I've had. So yeah, it's been a pain. It's been a pain, that's for sure. So What else can we talk about? I'm curious about Caroline. You got your little girl with you. What are some of the foods that she loves the most on a young lady's viewpoint?
Well, let's see. She really likes potatoes. So anytime she feels eating potatoes, it's literally like pre-cooked potato from the fridge, just eaten with her hand.
Like,
Nothing on it, just totally plain.
that's great. Those are also fun to do twice baked potatoes. That's been kind of a fun little treat now and then, whacking them in half, mashing the insides, putting them back in with some
No thanks.
vegetables and goodies, and putting them back and kind of browning the top just a little bit. That's kind of a fun thing. Or we look at eating the middles out and doing it like down here in the States. I don't know if we still have, there might be one still up by Sam, TGI Fridays, where they do potato skins. And those would just be the stuffing of the potato with some seasonings and stuff, and you put them back in the toaster oven and crisp them up a little bit. It's like a real fancy chubby fry, I guess. But does she like doing the French fries in the air fryer or anything like that, or baked in the oven?
Yeah, if I make fries, she'll eat that too. She likes, just plain brown rice as well. Like, I'm surprised at how plain she likes some of her food.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, brown rice is, I love it. It's chewy. I like it. So she just does it plain. She doesn't put anything on it.
Nope, nothing.
Wow. We can all take a lesson from her.
I know, really.
Teach us how to eat, right, Diane? Then you said she's what, 11?
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, we're real proud of her, because this will start her on a life of health that other kids her age are just not getting from their households. And it's I have clients that come to me now to do their blood, and their blood is just a mess. And so when I go through their dietary analysis, it is really interesting, because they sound like they're 5 years old. I mean, they live on pizza, hot dogs, mac and cheese, and chicken nuggets. I mean, that's like, and the only reason that's a 5-year-old's meal is the parents' fault. I guarantee you there's not a child on the planet that has walked into a grocery store by itself and picked up those 4, highly processed, bad to eat, foods, and put them in a grocery cart and checked out with any ease. Those foods had to be introduced to them by their parents, and they're what I call lazy foods. They were convenience foods that were too easy to just pop on a tray and heat up and serve. But when that became the norm, day after day after day, to feed people, and now that they're in their 30s and 40s and they're still eating, hot dogs, mac and cheese, and not the good kind,
Yeah.
and chicken nuggets, things like that. A lot of them, it's surprising, those little, like, you buy them in the box, they're frozen, and you bake them. They're like little miniature Hot Pockets, but they're like pizza on the inside or something like that. I mean, all these processed frozen foods that people consider normal food, and that's how they're surviving. And I ask them, why they eat or choose to eat that way, and they go, I'm just so tired at the end of the day. So that's where that whole concept of prepping the meals has become such a valuable thing for me. I know, because I usually get home from the clinic late if I'm in the clinic and it closes at 6 and I'm getting home and then it's late. But having those potatoes in that drawer already cooked, having that bowl of rice in the fridge already cooked, or those pasta noodles, the good ones, soaking in ice water in the fridge, has been so helpful to be able to just put something together and still stay on program. So I'm anxious to just see these next, several pounds diminish. I'm anxious for this little chubby part of my neck to go away right here.
It's not going to go away.
I am starting to get some collarbones here. Oh yeah, you're telling me this is going to stay here forever. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, it is. Yesterday I was at the laundromat doing laundry with somebody, my ministering person that I minister to, and so she's asked if I would feed her. So it's like, okay, sure. So we put the clothes in the dryer and went across the street to HEB, because there was, several fast food places, but it's like, yeah, they don't have salad. They don't have salad. So it's like, you know what? We just went to HEB. That's where I got that salad, that zoodle noodles salad thing. And then I was like, got a container full of zucchini,
Cucumber.
well, cucumbers with the little package of chili and limes. and then I also got a thing of what's that stuff called? Oh my gosh. It's a fruit, it's yellow, it's cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe.
I already done cantaloupe, you know, and
Mhm.
and so we're sitting there at the table eating, you know, she got her stuff and I had my stuff, and these people came in and started talking, and there was a little girl, she was 4, and mama opened up the big box of donuts for her, chocolate covered, you know, whatever.
At the
And
laundromat.
yeah, and so
Mhm.
there she is, you know, putting 2 donuts, you know, yeah. And I was just like, oh, so sad. And so I said, hey, do you want a piece of cantaloupe? And she's like, no. And her mom's like, she eats really good, healthy things, you know, trying to
Cover up.
herself for, you know, having this box of donuts for her kid, who surprisingly was not overweight, even though her aunt and her mom were. So it's just a matter of time before she's gonna be just like them. But so then I was like, how about, because she's like, oh, she really loves vegetables. Oh, really? Do you want some cucumber? Yeah. And she's like, well,
Mhm.
she likes um broccoli. She likes broccoli. I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's sad. It's
Yeah.
sad because they could have got the same thing, you know, the cucumbers, and is this making it better or worse for me to put the lime on the cucumber with the chili?
Well, those chili powders have quite a bit of salt in them, but the lime is perfect. I mean, you can do the lime anytime you want. Limes are very alkalizing as well as beneficial in every aspect. But I saw that the other day. I was over at HEB. I'm still touching the table and making it jiggle. Sorry. I was over at HEB the other day, and they were wheeling out one of those big carts, and it was just piled high with these boxes of cucumbers, like exactly like what you're looking at right there with the lemon and lime in there. And I thought, oh, how cool is that? They've been reading my mind, because that would be a great thing to just grab and go. A great thing. So we've also gone over to the little aisles at our grocery store. They have a place where they do fresh sushi with the rice roll-ups and things. And I've actually asked them to just make me one the way I like it, where it's just vegetables, and I haven't put the ginger and the wasabi right inside the middle. And that's been a fun little snack and grab. And they do a great job. There's another place, Ginza, that we like to go to, the Japanese noodle shop, and they do what is a sushi rito. And it's basically the big roll of sushi pinched at the end and turned into a burrito. They don't even take the time to cut it. And so it's just the big long thing. You just bite it like a burrito. So there's several
May
things you
I
can
ask
take
you a
on the trip.
question?
Yeah, absolutely.
The sushi, about the sushi, I like to get sushi at Whole Foods, and I've been getting it without the avocado and without the sesame seeds.
Right.
But once in a while, I'm in a hurry. I don't want to wait for them to make it. So I'll just buy the regular that they have out. And as I'm eating it, I'll take out some of the avocado. I'll probably eat a little bit, take some of it out.
Right.
But I never, when I asked them to make it, you know, it never occurred to me to put the wasabi and the ginger inside. And I think that's a fabulous idea.
Yeah, I told them that I'm too lazy to put it on the pieces. So can they just put it on the inside while they're rolling it up?
Yeah.
And same way, I asked them to leave the avocado out, which I love avocado. So like I said, if I was going to cheat, it would be with an avocado. But it's a great little grab and go kind of thing, and all the flavors are all bundled up right there, and I don't have the risk of dipping it in the wasabi too much and making my head explode, you know. So
Yeah.
that's
And
quite the head rush.
a little bit of avocado is not as bad as tons and tons of the whole wheat bread that I've, bread and buns and,
Hmm.
so yeah,
And it's primarily, Diane, because it's so refined, and that's why it's not doing you any justice on the weight loss. But um, if you were to do, I think the Dave's bread is probably the best one as far as being more close to a whole grain. That one's going to give you better benefit. But at the same time, if there was some way that you could maybe put those same things on top of a plate of rice, or on top of some diced up potatoes or mashed potatoes or something like that.
yeah.
In our group, we have our friend that Debbie Day, and Debbie, it's like I'll be scrolling down and I'll go, "Erk." I go, "That's a Debbie plate," because she loves frozen peas, and you can see frozen peas on
Oh.
her choices quite a bit. And I have found that frozen peas with mashed potatoes is the bomb diddly. I mean, it's like, where's that flavor been my whole life, with these little popping peas going on? But
Yeah.
and then having I love to add those roasted red bell peppers as well. So, but yeah, I think if we can just maybe this week tweak just a little bit and try to get back to a little bit more of the actual whole foods, the
Yeah.
whole food plant-based, maybe lock the bread up. Now, what I did is I put the bread that we had in the freezer. So if I want a piece of bread, I got to go chisel out a slice and defrost it. So it makes it more effort. And again, we're going to go back to me being lazy. And right now I can't even wheel my wheelchair into the kitchen unless they move that portable island out of the middle. I'm not going to be able to get in there. So I'm not going to go in there and chisel out a piece of bread. These don't have to go in the refrigerator. So this is a little bit more tempting, but again, I'd have to have somebody make it for me, because I can't get the wheelchair in there and make even on the griddle or by itself. But these are considered, they say that they're high fiber. So let me see what the fiber is on there. Yeah, 6 grams of fiber. That is pretty high for a single slice, for one single tortilla. They say that if you're having bowel issues, that if you can increase your fiber by just 8 additional grams of fiber from what your normal is, that it will move things along. So I might have to shove me something inside of one of these and bump up the fiber a little bit today. I know on that slide presentation, when I go really fast past that grotesque photos of bowel movements that are filling up the toilet with like 30 inches of bowel movement, it's a little gross, but it's impressive. But that came after eating an entire loaf several years ago of the gluten-free rosemary herb focaccia that they had at Sprouts. And out of just pure wish, I went to Sprouts just a couple weeks ago and I was looking for it. They don't carry it anymore, probably to my benefit, but it was gluten-free. That was a plus, but of course it was processed, but it was so much fiber that I just could not stop going the next day. I mean, 3 times that day, I put about 30 inches in the pot all at once. And there was just so much fiber there. So, but adding that extra 8 grams, whether it's in the form of vegetables or something, just try to work on the compliancy. Now, I did look at this a little bit closer while you were talking, and the sodium was high on this, but there was no added sugar. Well, excuse me, it was 1 added sugar. The fat was on point, but the sodium was 480, which is about 2.5 times what it should have been. So that's the only downfall on that one. But again, I'm not so worried about the salt, as in fact that we know this is refined salt. This is going to be the white salt. They're not going to spend the money on using good, orange, green, tan, pink, blue, black, the really good mineral laden salts. They're not going to do that. But, they're calling it vegan and high fiber. So, and Let me think what else. I know Canada has different things. Do they have gluten-free tortillas and stuff up there, Caroline?
I have not seen. Actually, there might be. Usually they're in the freezer section if they do, and I haven't really looked there.
Okay, yeah.
But most of the gluten-free bread that I've found is pretty boring, and the texture is weird.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get my husband to see this one. This is a Germany one. Honey, are you up? Can you grab me one of those shore breads that's out of the cupboard by Travis's door?
You know,
You open the cupboard there and get me one of those yellow Japata bread things. Any one of the ones that are in the yellow package. What, Sam?
I bought when I started this way of life, I bought that Ezekiel bread,
Yeah.
and I had 2 slices, and then it was in the refrigerator, and then I was like, oh, and I found the same thing but with raisins and cinnamon.
Yeah.
So I bought that, and I had 1 slice, and that's it. It's still in the refrigerator. Well, one of them, Summer, because I told Summer she could have it, and she could have that to eat, and she sent me a picture. It was like all molded and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, don't eat that.
Yeah. It can stay in the fridge for quite a long time. It really can. It comes frozen because it's a live sprouted bread, so it doesn't have a shelf life outside the fridge. And they do last a long time, but I can't eat Ezekiel bread anymore because I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. It was bought out by another company, and they decided to put the vital wheat gluten back into the ingredients to give it a longer shelf life. And now I can't have it. This is the one I was talking about earlier. This is a German bread, and this I think you might be able to even order from Amazon, but it's a German company. It's gluten-free, and this is the ciabatta, and they're these soft, squishy rolls, and they can sit on the shelf in your cupboard for months until the expiration date because they're sealed special. They have a little pouch thing in there. I'm not sure what that preservative is, but the ingredients is very minimal. It starts with cornstarch, water, corn flour, rice flour, psyllium husk, and that's about it. Oh, a little bit of soy protein. And at the very bottom, it's got the yeast, salt, and a little bit of sunflower oil. But here's how it breaks down on the label. It's 130 calories per roll. So one of these rolls is 130 calories of squishy fun food, I guess you could call it. And so if you did the 20% of 130, that would be 2.6. And the actual fat is only 1.5. So it fits into our allotment of approved fat categories just fine. The sodium should be 1 for 1. It should be 130. The sodium is 240, so it's basically doubled. And then the added sugar, there is 2 added sugars, so it still fits in the category of the allowed food, I guess. But again, it's one of those things that you have to be cautious about. I mean, if you're not careful, you could open that and want to eat all 4 of those at one time. So by stuffing them with some hearty goodness, like the mock tuna salad, that's the garbanzo beans and relish and celery and that sort of thing, it's going to fill you up better so that you're not as tempted. And another thing to do with that is once you've opened them is take the 1 or 2 that you're not going to be eating for that meal and wrap them up and throw them suckers in the freezer so that next time you want them, you have to defrost them. And then we go back to lazy, and lazy saves us from disasters on more than one occasion when we're too lazy to defrost something that we shouldn't have. So all the bad stuff that we're not supposed to have, if we're going to be doing it at all, and these are egg-free and everything. They're egg-free, wheat-free, dairy-free, non-GMO. I like that part. It's just too easy. They remind me of the rolls. Samantha will know this one. Diane, you might too. Golden Corral. Remember Golden Corral? They have those squishy hot rolls that came out all the time. Those are just, way too processed, just way too processed. So hopefully we'll get an adjustment this next week and try to figure out how to do it a little bit more whole food. Like I said, make the mashed potato crust. And we have that recipe. You can look it up on my YouTube channel. There's a YouTube video on that. And you're just taking the mashed potatoes or the hash browns and smashing them down into the pan. You can add seasonings if you want. You can add a little bit of guar gum or potato starch or something if you want to really make it thick. But I know Diane, Caroline, and I think Debbie Day and Melanie, they have all just done it by just smashing it down into the pan without adding anything extra, and then baking it, and it gets crisp. Then they put their toppings on it, put it back in the oven again, and it makes a delightful hold in your hand pizza, but it's literally whole potato and no added weird stuff that would be a problem for us. So
Yeah.
It's all just too much work.
smashing it into the pan.
Yeah, I mean, I just eat my potato. It's all good. And my point on the bread was, I used to eat a lot of bread-ish. I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, that's been a new
don't-
thing too. The foods
Don't
that
eat
you
bread
thought
at
you
all.
had to live with and now you can live without, it's like you're like, oh, I don't even crave that anymore. Like candy, chocolate. There was a point where there was never a night that we didn't have 2 or 3 of those Adkins chocolate bars while we're watching TV. And now we have a cookie jar and it's empty, pretty much empty now because my boys were here and they were going a little crazy with it. But it's not something that we crave anymore because our body's getting the fuel we need and the carbohydrates it needs. Our bodies aren't screaming out for, give me more sugar, which would also be an indicator that there's yeast. Yeast is like little birds in a nest wanting to be fed, and that yeast is like going, gimme, 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 gimme. So by not having that craving for sugar, I can already tell you that my yeast, if any, is like non-existent, which is great. That's a wonderful place to be, is to be able to be yeast free, candida free, whatever it is, and not have any of those health issues that are associated with that. So very excited about how this whole program has changed my mood. It's changed my energy. It's changed my health. It's changed my skin. It's changed my weight. And it's like, oh my gosh, all we had to do is add some starches and make it happen. So I'm really excited about that. I really appreciate you guys being here every week, and you're a huge motivator for me. Hopefully we're all a motivator for each other. I really enjoy these chats and the people that are working and they're not able to join us. I've been getting some really good comments back from the people who watch it after it's uploaded, which reminds me, I apologize. I have not uploaded the last 2 weeks. So I'll have to upload 3 weeks right now and get those up to the program. We'll get them up on YouTube so they can have the closed captioning option for those that are hearing impaired to be able to enjoy as well. So, all right, any other questions before we wrap it up today? Nope, we lost Sam. Okay, Sam went away. All right, guys. Carolina, your daughter, have a great outing, mom and daughter day. I'm so jealous. I'd love to have a mommy daughter day. That would be fun. Oh, if any of my daughters are listening, show up so we can have a mommy daughter day. All right, guys, we will talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us, Diane. And you guys have a great week, and let's do this, okay?
Bye-bye, and good health and healing for you. And you're doing all the right things. So
Thank you. I
you
appreciate
know you're
it.
going to get a good outcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Diane. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye now.